turn it up. I want to show you how this thing sounds. The bike 2022 Road Glide Limited. Okay, so I'm gonna do a couple videos when it comes to this bike, and this is the first one that I'm gonna do, kind of give you a heads up that I got a 132 installed here on my Road Glide 2022 Limited. Now, the reason why I got the 132 from SNS, it was primarily because of it. Just because, right? Because I really didn't need it. The 114 that I had stage 2 with SNS cams, I think it's 475. We actually had to put them out to verify them when we got this thing tuned. It was more than enough. This bike was fast. This bike moved. This bike had absolutely zero issues, like zero. I went to Alabama. I went down to Miami. I went out of state with this thing, and it did fantastic. This bike is great, but in the spirit of being an American and wanting to go bigger, I decided to go for the 132 from SNS. That week I worked a little bit extra, I had some extra money, and I put it on. Now, this is going to be the first video. I'm going to let you guys know a couple things that we did in this bike, couple different upgrades and things like that. But the first thing I will tell you is that we had issues with. So there's going to be a bunch of different things that I'm going to do in a different video. Obviously, I got this SNS air intake, and again, I'm going to talk about that in a different video. But you can see here, 132 kit. There was a couple other things that we changed as well. I'm going to talk about it in a different video. We changed the manifold back there. We put bigger fuel injectors and a couple things. And the reason why the pipes are exposed is because we are going to take it 3 days from now. We're taking this bike to get retuned. It has a tune already, but we're going to do it again because the first tune failed. And the reason why it failed was because we had a leak in the gaskets down here. You can see the 132 says SNS here. It looks really, really fantastic, guys. To tell you the truth, it looks really good. Big shout out to my friend Jason. He did all the work, and he did a fantastic job. And he actually did it twice because, like I said, the first time that we put this thing on, and I actually took it to get tuned right before we went to the tuning place, which the guy did a fantastic job as well. We turned the bike on, and next thing I know, I heard this thing like bzz, and obviously I had a leak in the gaskets. And I'll tell you the truth, don't really quote me on everything because I'm not a mechanic, I'm not a professional, I'm not, you know, like even one of those guys that know a lot about this kind of stuff when it comes to mechanical things. But Jason knows a ton, right? And like I said, I heard a bzz, it was just like this, and next thing I know, I smelled like something was burning. So we had a leak on the rear cylinder. That's kind of what we had, and it was nothing we could do about it. But I did got some interesting information from the guy that was doing the tuning. Now, according to him, I'm not going to mention any names because I don't know if he wants me to put this out there, but according to this gentleman that did the job, by the way, he charged me for the license, and he only charged me for half of the tuning. So on Wednesday when I go, I had to pay the other half, and he actually put a tune on the motorcycle. So what was pushing was about 147 in torque, and he said about 123 on horsepower. And the reason why was because the clutch was slipping. I had to put Screaming Eagle clutch springs in there, and those numbers are going to change obviously, but by the time that we stopped, clutch was slipping, right? And he said he's going to get more of that. But again, this guy, not only he tunes motorcycles, but he also does builds, and I believe he has built 3 132, including one that is his motorcycle. Anyway, it comes to find out that he said that some of the torques that we typically go with Harley, you know, on the way that you do the torque pattern in the cylinders was not correct when it comes down to the 132, potentially because of the gaskets that the 132 use are different. So again, if you're like me, you're probably not really into all the mechanical aspects or anything like that. But if you look at this right here, where you got the cylinder, there's going to be obviously some bolts that you have to bolt down. Now there is a pattern, and if you really want to think about it, think about changing a tire in your car, right? You just don't do bam 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 bam, right? You kind of go in a different pattern, right? You go from here to here, and then maybe here, and then here, right? So there is a pattern that you have to follow, which Jason followed the pattern to the T. I mean, strictly to the T. He had a manual out. He had he's reading from the book, following all the specs and all that. But again, that didn't work out. And in fact, the guy said when you put the bike apart and you go down to, again, the cylinder, check the torques on the screws, and I guarantee you pretty much that it's going to back up, right? So again, if you think you had 40 pounds, potentially not going to be at 40 pounds, right? It's going to lose some of the torque in those screws. So literally, we took that off, and then when we went into there, we definitely lost the torque. Like 2 of the screws were 40 pounds, 2 of the screws were like 30 pounds. Again, it was all over the place, and it didn't hold that torque that it was supposed to hold. So big shout out to Fuel Moto, because the guys say contact Fuel Moto. They're gonna give you some information how to do the torque pattern the proper way. And Jason made contact with those guys, which was fantastic, and those guys gave Jason a ton of information, including an email on how to torque all the screws. And after going through the entire pattern, the final torque was 50 pounds, and that's what Jason did. Now, am I saying that that's the way to go? Am I saying that that is what you're supposed to do? I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a mechanic or anything like that. All I'm saying is that we torque it to 50 pounds. The guy told me I could ride the motorcycle because it has a partially tune on it. We did the heat cycle. When it comes down to the gaskets, there's a heat cycle that you got to do. And I've been riding the bike yesterday. I rode it today, and it seems to be okay. On Wednesday, I'm going to be going back to the tuning place, and he's going to finish tuning the motorcycle, and I'm definitely going to give you an update. But here's the final take on it. Here's the 132. Like I said, we had an issue with the rear cylinder leaking. It kind of sucks because you guys know, you get excited about this, and next thing you know, this thing is leaking. It just kills the entire thing, right? A couple days from now, I'm going to take it to get a tune. I am going to put it in a trailer because it's about an hour and a half away, and I'm not going to ride it there. And then I'm going to come back and let you guys the numbers while pushing. Also, I'm going to do another video. I'm going to cover like all the things that the bike has, because at this point, this bike has a lot of stuff, really, really a lot of stuff. And I want to give a shout out to Jason, like I say, because he did all the work. Now, difference between the 114 with the cans that I had and the 132, I really can't tell you because I haven't pushed it yet. I really haven't pushed it. I've been babysitting this. I feel like there is a ton of power. I feel like it's just asking me to freaking open that throttle, but I just haven't done it yet. So I will let you know on that as well. Appreciate you guys watching. Gotta send control.